Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And, well, it's boys basketball tournament time as they get underway later on this afternoon down at the Kohl Center in Madison with Division III semifinals.
Yeah. Should be a great tournament. A lot of teams that have been down there before. And we got some nice local flavor in the boys tournament this year. But just looking forward to it. So it should be a good tournament all the way through.
St. Thomas More against Prescott in the first game this afternoon at 1:35, and St. Thomas More, the number one seed at 27-1.
Right. Yeah, and Prescott came through a pretty good D3 bracket there, of teams, and so they'll be tough. But St. Thomas More is pretty good, highly regarded. So
Lakeside Lutheran takes on Kiel, and Kiel, if I look, just one of the handful, if only one of two actually, that are unbeaten in the field.
And it might be one of their first times down there. I don't recall a Kiel team being down there.
No,
I haven't done any research on it, but
28-0 coming in.
Not very many undefeateds this year.
No, I think they and Wisconsin Lutheran in Division II are the only two unbeatens.
Right.
So that's the field for Division III this afternoon at 1:35. And then tonight, Division IV, and you mentioned some local flavor, and the number one seed is that local team.
Marathon, they ranked number one. They were in the top two most of the season, and they finished at number one, and we had the good luck to see them in their sectional semifinal against Auburndale, which turned out to be a far better game than we thought it was going to be. I said 57-54, and Auburndale had a chance to tie at the buzzer, but you just go back over that game and you marvel how well Auburndale was prepared. And, it just shows you that third time around is so much tougher.
Yes, it is. Yes. Marathon comes in 27-1, their first state trip to state since 2018. They're ninth overall.
Yeah.
Of course, they were mainstays back in the mid-'70s.
75, 76, 77, they were champions. And I believe they have a runner-up trophy. I believe they have another state championship. Yeah, when Jeff Reike was the coach. They had a championship, and then under Adam Jacobson, they did have a runner-up, I believe, in 2018, I believe. So
their most recent gold ball actually came in 2011.
Yes, Jeff Reike was the head coach.
Yeah, 4 state titles in all for the Marathon Red Raiders. They will take on Kenosha St. Joseph at 6:35 tonight. And this past Sunday evening, they had conference calls with the coaches that are going to be at state, and Coach Adam Jacobson was part of that conference call, and he started off by talking about his team.
We come out of the Merwood South. We're 27-1. One loss was to Mosinee in a non-league game in early January. Beat Bonduelle in a sectional final. Grant Warren is a player of ours that probably gets the most headlines. 6'10", full ride to Michigan Tech. Averaging about 22 and a half, 23 points, 13 rebounds a game, returning all-state player, two-time All-Merwood South Player of the Year. But we also have a couple other returning starters in Tyler Underwood, first-team All-Conference player, Cooper Hexema, second-team All-League player. Those are 3 seniors that lead us, team captains. And we also have 2 sophomores, Drew Wolfel and True Thurs, who come off the bench. Who also start as sophomores with them. And then we have a couple guys also who come off the bench, and Andy Glennon, Cody Radke, and Landon Snyder.
Hey, Coach, let's open it up for the questions. Go on with the questions for Coach Jacobson, please.
Coach Craig from Kiel, you mentioned Mosinee. Sounds like you had a pretty hefty non-conference schedule. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we knew we had a lot coming back and did our best to challenge ourselves. Mosinee's been a team we've played for years and years and years. They're close to us. Wonderful D2 program that we get a challenge every year. We went down, thankfully went down to the Concordia shootout, played the Prairie School, played Kettle Moraine Lutheran. And then, we played a couple other, Wittenberg, Burnham Wood, Colby, things like that, just to challenge. We're very fortunate in the Merwood South to get Auburndale twice and to get Edgar and to get Stratford. And those are, I think Auburndale won 22 games. I think Stratford won 20, and I think Edgar won 19. So night in and night out, I think we were fortunate to be challenged. And for most part, we rose to the challenge throughout the year.
Coach, you mentioned Grant Warren as your top player, and those other guys that kind of play around him that are good as well. I've watched you guys a couple of times. That's got to be a kind of how would you say it, a luxury as a coach to have a guy like Grant Warren, but those other guys around him as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think we're really balanced. And not only is Grant the tremendous rebounder and scorer, he's just a very willing and talented passer as well. And he's averaging, close to 4 assists a game for us as well. But yeah, real balance. We've had 6 different guys lead us in scoring at various points throughout the year. And yeah, I agree that that helps. So if teams want to key on certain areas, hopefully we have other guys willing and able to step up.
You mentioned the Merriwood South Conference. Auburndale and Edgar and Stratford. You had Auburndale 3 times this year, and that last time, that was quite a game.
Yeah, it was. You think back to, we've had some nice teams here the last few years, and we lost having to play Edgar in a regional final when they went to the state tournament. Then a couple of years ago, we lost to Stratford at playing them a 3rd time in a regional final. Then we lost last year to Auburndale in the sectional, having to play them a 3rd time. And then finally this year, we were able to get past Auburndale for the 3rd time and continue to advance. But yeah, it was a heck of a game, shot for shot, back and forth, and thankfully we were able to make a couple plays at the end.
Hey, I'm here from the television broadcast. I imagine having a player as unique as Grant at 6'10", you may have seen a variety of defenses. If so, can you kind of explain and tell us?
Yeah, a lot of physicality on him, and he's handled it very, very well. And he's gotten stronger and worked, and he's diversified his game to be able to play face up. And I think he was 3 for 4 or 4 for 5 from the 3-point line yesterday in the sectional final. So, but yeah, a lot of box and ones, certainly a lot of double, triple teams. And that's where we've been able to develop that balance in playoff skips and playoff dive cuts and things like that to help. But yeah, a lot of different things that have been thrown at us. Unfortunately, we've been able to adapt.
What about your opponent, first game, the semifinal?
Yeah, I mean, very talented. And I mean, the league they come out of is just brutal. St. Thomas More twice, Dominican twice, Racine St. Cat's twice in the Metro. So they're very battle-tested, very talented, retained. I mean, they went to play in the state championship game last year, and everybody knows that Kennessy had 50 points in the semifinals. So he's tremendous. He's amazing with the dribble. He can obviously score at a very high rate, but he makes his teammates so much better through his gap penetration and getting to the middle. He'll have that pull-up jumper, or he'll hit the bounce pass for a layup. So we certainly have our hands full. And I think in the whole field, Division IV here, anybody can win it. I truly believe that with Mineral Point, Aquinas, us, and Kenosha St. Joe's, it's 4 tremendous basketball teams, and we're thankful to be there to have a chance. And it's going to be very difficult.
What's going to be the biggest key for you guys to be successful at state?
I think our ability to handle the dribble. There's going to be a lot of quickness there, especially from Kenosha St. Joe's. Our ability to hold teams to one shot, our ability to get into our offense and play inside out. And then obviously you have to handle the surroundings. It's a wonderful experience for our guys, but it's their first experience. And then Kenosha St. Joe's, on the other hand, has experience in guys who've been a part of this. So adapting to that new environment early and getting through that obviously matters significantly.
Hey, Coach Drew from WJFW 12. Talking about the atmosphere of the Kohl Center, do you guys have plans of, maybe getting the boys there early on Thursday for the 2 previous games, kind of get them into it? Or are you guys going to kind of go about arriving normally like you would, before any of the sectional games? How are you trying to get them, acclimated to the Kohl Center?
Yeah, our intent, and historically what we've done is we try to get there for that first game, that 135 game, just to get the kids in the arena, get that feeling. And then from there, we'll have to go back to the hotel, get ready, because we do play the 6:35 game. But yeah, the intent is to get in there, get a feel, get set for your surroundings. And then you have to do the best you can when that ball is tipped at 6:35. It is a basketball game, something you've done 28 times prior already. Go out there and play for the 29th time.
All right, that's Marathon head coach Adam Jacobson as he gets set for Kenosha St. Joseph, and he knows it's not going to be easy. Yeah. That's a team that's back in the tournament again from last year.
They were in the state finals last year, and their leading scorer was back, and of course he set I believe a state record last year with 50, definitely a D4 record with 50 points, and they are going to be a tough team to beat. And then you look at the other side of the bracket, both those teams are, you look at number 3, Aquinas. They are probably playing better than anybody right now, Larry.
Yeah.
I honestly, they took out this sectional over here. They went into Onalaska Luther, beat them handily. They beat Durand handily, and Durand a very good ball club. So, but I think Aquinas is a team to watch here.
Yeah, I know. That's Coach Jacobson saying this is not going to be an easy field, no matter who you look at.
And then they're playing Mineral Point, and Mineral Point has a tremendous history in basketball too, among other sports.
Right. So it should be an interesting Division 4 field down there tonight, starting at 6:35. Tomorrow morning, Division 5 semifinals kick off the day with Columbus Catholic, number 1 seed, taking on Solon Springs.
Interesting matchup. Of course, Solon Springs beat Owen Withy in the sectional final, and they beat them pretty handily. Columbus, of course, with 2 games against Owen Withy, but for the most part, fairly decent games. Owen Withy, Columbus, as they tend to do, pull away at the end because of great free throw shooting and stuff. But very good, I think, interesting matchup here. So,
and I didn't realize, but Solon Springs ended up in the WISports.net coaches poll as the number 1 team in Division 5.
Yeah, I didn't miss that.
Columbus
too.
Catholic was number 2.
Yeah, Columbus was all the way, and how do you drop even with no losses? But
right,
I think when you look at their 2 schedules, Columbus, going down to that Christmas tournament, did schedule a very tough non-conference schedule this year compared to other years. I think with Coach Konechki, and I gotta believe this senior-oriented ball club is ready for this tournament.
Oh yeah,
this is something they've been building for, Larry, forever, probably since these kids were in grade school.
Yeah. By the way, Solon Springs making their first trip to state.
And what a trip! And what a trip!
And what a trip! Yeah, that's a long trip to Madison for those guys. By the way, one of the things that Todd Clark asked before the coaches conference call with Coach Konechny, he asked him how he pronounces it.
Okay.
And Joe was very adamant, almost as it's Konechny.
Konechny. Okay.
How many times have we said Konechny over the years?
Yeah, we've been wrong for years.
We've been wrong for years. It's actually Konechny.
We will take that. We will fix that next year.
Yes, it was taken from Joe, from himself. So, and he talked about his team in that conference call, as well as some other questions that were posed by the media.
We have a team of 9 seniors. They've been together since 3rd, 4th grade, and made it to the sectional final 2 years ago. Got beat by Gibraltar in a tough game. Last year ran into Newman Catholic, who went on to win the state championship. So I think the goal this year was to get to take one last shot at getting down to the Kohl Center, and obviously we were very excited that they were able to do that.
All right, thank you. Let's open it up for the questions from the media. Go ahead, please.
Coach Craig from Kiel. It's been a great year for basketball in Marshfield. Have the 2 programs kind of supported each other?
Yeah, we're pretty close. I think the coaching staffs are friends. I've been here for 19 years. Coach Fisher, I've known him for a long time. They have a really talented group over there. Almost made it down here in a really tough bracket. And, their junior class is kind of like our senior class. They have a loaded junior class, in my opinion. And next year they'll probably be like our team with high expectations with a lot of talented seniors. But we do get along well. Coach Scheuer, who was there before Coach Fisher, and I used to do a lot of camps together. The relationship is very, very positive.
Coach, Larry here from WPKG in Neillsville. We cover you guys a lot over the years. You're coming out of that Eastern Cloverbelt Conference. How important is that coming out of there, doing well as you did the last several years here?
We're excited about it. We have a lot of respect for our conference. Owen Withy was in a sectional final last night. We have some pretty good D4 schools in our conference, Neillsville, Colby, a lot of good athletes. And I think anytime you're in Division 5 and you can play games against teams up a division, it helps you. But we're very proud to represent the Clover Belt Conference.
Hey, Coach, this is Reagan from the Superior Telegram. I cover Solon Springs, so I see them all the time, but I'm assuming you haven't seen too much of them. I'm just curious if you've had a chance to watch any of their games, and just what's your perspective on kind of Solon's team, their ability to go pretty deep, and also Isaiah having 30 a game and being a dominant interior force?
Oh, we have had the opportunity to watch them a lot, really since their game against McDonald last year. That's probably the first time we sat down and watched one of their games was about a year ago. But Obviously, Castern is a problem. You know, he tries to dunk everything, and in the Division 5 level, you do not see athletes like that very often. So, but they have some good guards that go with them. You know, 3 or 4 kids that shoot the three over 30%. So, we know how good they are, and we know that Friday is going to be a really great test for us.
Coach, this group of kids, first time they've been to state. I know you've been there several times in the past. How are you getting them ready to go for their first time down there?
Well, you know, I think we're trying to instill in them what we learned the first 2 times. You know, the first time you go, I think it's kind of a whirlwind. You make some mistakes as a coaching staff. The second time, I thought we were much better from a basketball standpoint, just because we knew more what to expect as a staff. And now this time, hopefully, we're even a little more solid. Just trying really hard to keep it about the basketball. It's a really exciting time for our school and for the community, but for those 14 or 15 players in uniform. Very important that they try to stay inside the lines and focus on the task at hand. So I think that's probably the main focus, just trying to keep the outside stuff outside for the players at least.
I know Coach Lamb talked about coaching his sons down at state. You've got a couple of sons as well on your team. How happy are you for them?
I'm thrilled. You know, selfishly, I mean, we're one of those families that's gone to the state tournament every year for probably 25 years since before they were born. You know, we have always had like our family tickets there in section 106. So those two have probably been to, you know, 15, 16 state tournaments since they were in diapers. So to think that they're going to have the opportunity to just run on that floor together, it's unbelievable. I could not be more grateful and just happy for them.
As someone who hasn't had the chance to watch you guys play yet, I mean, can you kind of just give me a quick rundown of your offense? Just looking at the numbers, it looks like you guys are pretty elite from the three-point line, but I'm just curious what your perspective is on what makes you guys so efficient offensively.
Well, I think it starts with balance. You know, we have 4 or 5 young men that can score in double figures. They can all shoot the three. 1 or 2 off the bench that can shoot the three as well. So it's kind of hard to try to take 1 or 2 people away. We have some teams in our conference that game plan really well, and you know, if they want to box in 1 or triangle in 2, 1 or 2 of those guys, there's 2 or 3 more. So I think it starts with balance, just having multiple people that can score and space the floor and shoot it. It's kind of been our system here, but you know, we're not genetically blessed with height around here. I'm not sure what happened, but we have to be skilled and able to shoot it at our size.
Coach, hi, this is John Mason from the Wisconsin State Journal. So I'm just curious, did you feel like this was the way the seeds would go down and this would be the matchup you had?
You know, I don't know. I looked at the records last night, and I think all 4 teams have 27 wins. You know, 1 loss for Almond and 2 for the rest of us. So we were prepared to play anybody. I do think Solon's a really, really elite team. You know, but like the WIAA tells us in our meetings, it's really a tough job. I mean, looking at the records and the level of opponents, I think anybody could have been 1, 2, 3, or 4, and we respect what came out of it, and we're just really grateful for the opportunity.
Of the other teams that you've had down to state, how does this one compare to those?
I think it's smaller, but you know, we're probably a little bit more skilled across the board with young men that can handle the ball and shoot it. The 2017 team was probably comparable to this one from a size standpoint. I think this one's deeper. 2019, we had size that we haven't normally had, some length with, you know, 6'2", 6'3" kids that could really create havoc with their length. So, you know, it's comparable, a little bit deeper, but maybe not quite as big as 2019.
A couple of Division 5 teams making their first appearance. Is it just one of those things, I should say at the state tournament, is it just one of those things where you have to go through it to really know what it's like? Or how do you look at maybe that being an advantage for your boys?
You know, I don't know. I think it from a preparation standpoint, but you know, what we did our first time is we called coaches that had been there, you know, asked for their advice, tried to learn from other people's mistakes. And I'm sure, you know, the coaches that haven't been there are doing the same thing. So I don't know that it's a huge advantage. Maybe if the team had been there before as players, it would be.
Sure.
But these young men were like 6th, 7th grade the last time we went. So I don't know that it will be.
All right, that's head coach Joe Konechny of Columbus Catholic. And Yeah, he mentioned it. These kids were in middle school, I think he said, when they went down the last time.
Yep.
So
and
they've been looking at this.
And every one of those kids was at that game, I guarantee you.
Yeah. It's a good senior class.
Yeah,
he's got
a
there.
very heavy senior class.
Yeah.
Other than his son Mac, they pretty much rely on seniors for the most part. So, but yeah, the other side of the bracket, Larry, kind of two unknowns. Abundant Life Christian is the number 2 seed. Don't know much about them. Number 3, Almond Bancroft. You look at their scores; they have beaten a lot of people. They beat Loyal very handily early in the season, and that's I think, a team to watch.
I think it may be a Columbus Catholic Almond Bancroft final.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know much about Abundant Life Christian. Now they might come and surprise us too, but they do have the number 2 seed, so somebody knows something about them.
Well, the only team that's had any experience at state is Columbus Catholic.
Yes,
the other 3 teams are first-time participants.
Which is interesting too, that you have 3 first-timers in the same bracket. But also it's great for D5 because the towns, I guarantee you there won't be a soul in Elmwood Bancroft.
No.
Friday morning
Soul
or
in
Soul on
Springs.
Springs either. So,
And Abundant Life Christian comes from down by Madison, I believe.
Okay.
Is where they come from. But I heard the coach talking from Abundant Life Christian. They have never made it past a regional final.
Okay.
Until this year.
So these guys are going to be some kids' idols forever. Yeah. The first one, you bet.
And there may see some serious deers in the headlight.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, you walk into that Kohl Center for the first time, and of course I've only done it as a spectator, but even going in as a spectator, it's quite a sight.
Yeah.
It really is.
I couldn't imagine playing.
Yeah, being down on that floor. And
First time. Yeah. All right, so that's the Division 5 field on Friday morning, and then tomorrow afternoon, Wisconsin Lutheran against Nicolay at 1:35, and then Pewaukee takes on West Salem to follow that one in Division 2, and there's some great talent in Division 2.
Pewaukee, I think, is the defending champion, and they are blessed with talent down there. And West Salem, very good ball club, but they're playing up a division from last year.
Yeah.
They were D3 last year, so they're up. But give them kudos to them moving up a division and going to state.
Sure.
And they did clinch that state sectional championship here in Neilsville.
Yes, they did.
So beating River Falls, so beating a good River Falls ball club. So, but pretty interesting. Pewaukee is tough. I look for them. I don't know about Wisconsin Lutheran is tested at the state tournament too. Their coach, I forget his name right off the top of my head, but they are very well tested down there. And Nicolay, I don't know much about, but I think that could be a good 1-2 championship there, and Pewaukee is tough. So.
Yeah, it'll be Wisconsin Lutheran and Pewaukee, I'm sure, in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Wisconsin Lutheran, as I mentioned, one of 2 teams that's unbeaten. They are at 28-0. Then Division 1 on Friday night, Arrowhead takes on Neenah. That's a rematch of the girls' game they had last weekend.
Yeah, Neenah kind of a Cinderella. They were a 6th seed in their sectional,
right,
and came through it and beat Marshfield 52-48 in the sectional final. A very good game, from what I understand. But Arrowhead and Neenah, they were there last weekend. So it's Kettle Moraine, I think, is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And Marquette University, I think all 4 of these, this could be a real toss-up here.
Yeah.
So
you look at all 5 of these divisions.
Yeah, any one of these in all 5 divisions could win. And I'll tell you what, Larry, if they have a Saturday like they had in Green Bay last Saturday, they are going to be very happy. Because every one of them 5 games last weekend was very well contested, and we'll talk about them before we go. But and that's what you want,
That's exactly what you want. All right, so WISports.net had their people pick who they think is going to win. And Division 5, they have Columbus Catholic beating Almond Bancroft.
Yep.
They have Marathon over Mineral Point.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take Aquinas over Marathon there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Aquinas is the best team in my opinion right now. Aquinas is the best team in D4.
All right.
So
Division 3, they have St. Thomas More over Kiel.
Oh boy, I like Lakeside Lutheran to be in the final, but I think I'll take St. Thomas More. I think is the best team there. So.
Okay. And they have the Wisconsin Lutheran Pewaukee Championship, and they have Lutheran beating Pewaukee.
I'm going to take Pewaukee there.
All right.
I think Pewaukee is very talented. So.
And they have Arrowhead over Marquette.
Okay. Here I'm going to play a hunch, and I'm going to go with the number 4 Neenah team. They're on a roll.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right.
And Nina, very well tested. I don't think there's a school in the state of Wisconsin that's made more trips to Madison than Nina.
I think they think it was a 30th trip.
I think when I was a kid, the first game I ever remember watching a state tournament, they were playing Beloit Memorial, and they were up by 2 and up in overtime, and Lamont Weaver hit a half-court shot to send it to the and for years it was poor Nina because they always would lose in the championship game, but they always got there. That was the thing.
30 trips to state.
Ron Einerson, the head coach in those days. So.
All right, so
and the three-point shooting contest is Saturday, Larry. And Logan Barr of Luther is a contestant, a kid we got seen play, and 50% on the season, so he'll definitely be a contender, I think. So
yes, he will.
So
5 champions were crowned last weekend for the girls.
What a day!
Yeah.
I said you start with that D5 game between Albany, Monticello, and Lena overtime, 57-54. What a great game that was. So too bad there had to be a loser. So, but and the same thing in D4 too. With Laconia and Cuba City, tooth and nail back and forth. Laconia gets their second consecutive state title, and they're young enough they could be back again. So and Cuba City is too.
Yeah, there was a few teams that were at state that will have a lot of players back.
Well, we'll get to that, but D3 Edgewood over Xavier, another back and forth game. But you talk about teams that are going to return next year in D2. Pewaukee beat Notre Dame. First of all, they ended Notre Dame's 3-year run as a state championship. But Pewaukee starts 5 juniors. Including the Terrian twins.
Oh, boy.
And they are headed for Michigan State after high school.
Wow.
But they are going to be a force next year.
Yeah, they'll be back, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Green Bay had 2 losses this year. First game of the season to Pewaukee and the last game of the season to Pewaukee.
That's right. I did hear that. That's right. Yes, they played them in the beginning of the game.
Gracie Gresh, one of their top. They had 3 Division I players in their lineup. Wow. Including Gracie Gresh, who will be playing for the Badgers next year. So,
wow.
So
yeah, that's good stuff.
But D2. I said I don't want to cut down D1, but the D2 talent in girls, Larry, is the best division in the state right now.
Oh yeah, by
absolutely,
far.
Absolutely. Either Pewaukee or Notre Dame, I believe, would have run roughshod over Arrowhead or Nina in the finals. Though Nina, they had the Miss Wisconsin basketball, though. Allie Zabel. She's tough, too.
Yeah,
and she's playing for Connecticut, UConn next year.
And then there's a player on Arrowhead. Isn't that Klesmit's sister?
Yes. Yep.
Then there's a Curl.
Yep.
That plays on there. Or Kuso plays on Arrowhead, too.
Yeah, and an Essigen, too, I believe.
Yeah.
So, a lot of Badger Fed touches there. So,
yeah, there's a lot of good talent in girls basketball.
You bet. It was just a great tournament all the way around. And and that Resch Center is just the perfect place to have it, I believe. So
and more of the same is probably going to come for the boys this weekend.
Absolutely. This is going to be a great tournament. I think it'll be one of the best we've had in a long time. So looking forward to it.
And again, you can catch that Columbus Catholic game on 92.3 FM WOSQ tomorrow morning. Coverage starts at 8:30. Game time is 9:05 tomorrow morning for that state semifinal in boys basketball. All right, just quickly, Nick Mulliver, speaking of Columbus Catholic, he plays with Viterbo, and he was received all-conference recognition from the North Star Athletic Association.
Had a great season. I believe he was the leading scorer, so he's been a force ever since he went from Columbus down there. So
he's still shooting good from three-point range, 46%.
He came from Columbus. He can shoot the threes, so...
and of course, another Marshfield native, Wayne Wagner, is the coach.
Yes, absolutely. Down there at Viterbo. At one time Wayne was the coach in Greenwood too. So
yes, that's right. Yes,
that's where he started his coaching career. Yeah. So
Viterbo finished 12-16 on the season.
Yep. So
and indoor track season begins tomorrow night.
Yes, Neilsville hosting one. Gilman, Granton, Greenwood, Loyal, Owen Whitby, and Bloomer. So
all going to be in Neilsville.
Had a chance to talk to Coach Kat Luchterhan the other night. Almost 50 kids out for track this year.
Good for them.
The biggest number they've had, she thought, since 2006.
Wow.
So that's tremendous. So
yeah, and they should be pretty good, too.
That's what she said. She said, we're going to turn some heads, she said. So
All right. All right. There'll do it for Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.